Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world, the world away. I'm back from a new week, back from a fresh trip away. I've been down to Pompey this weekend, had an absolutely great time, and I met a couple of you too, so you know who you are, had a great weekend. But we are going to start the week with Pack 11 and the Agora Models release of Build the Terminator. That pretty much accounts for why my voice is a lot deeper than it normally is as well. Lots of shouting. Anyway, we're going to be doing stages 101 to 110 in this issue, which means when we get to 107, the Terminator, as you can see here, lying on my operating table, is going to be fully built. Then we're going to start working on the stand for the back and the stand for the base, the actual base of the base. If that makes sense. So I've put the link down here to the Agora Models website, and you can get this all the way from pack 1. You can get an accelerated starter on this, as in fact you get some accelerated starters on some of the other items you can get there, which are again at that link. And you've got things like the Super Snake there, the Cobra, Zero Fighter, the Bismarck. Check it out, we've got the Leopard tank coming soon, and you'll be able to get these and join me on these builds. But I can't wait to see a completed Terminator, so without further ado, let's get cracking. Now, if you remember, in the last pack we were left with a foot that we couldn't really attach. I mean, we could put it in where it goes on this left leg here, but we couldn't really attach it because we need a screw to put this in. Now, if you have a look at the back of this section, there is a hole for a tiny screw to go in, which I believe is a 1.7 times 6mm screw, and that's going to be going through this side of the hole here. So what we need to do is just line up the foot. Don't worry too much about these tendon parts at the moment. Line them up. As a matter of fact, these tendon parts here, if you remember, they weren't even attached, so that makes life a lot easier. So I'm going to line that hole up. There we go. And then I've got that screw already preloaded, ready to go. So I'll just put the screw through the hole. When we actually put this in, we want to make sure it goes through both parts, and then that will ensure that this foot is never coming out. There we go, that's going in absolutely lovely. Then all we have to do is just attach all these tendons to these ball joints here. So that's one from the bigger, thicker one here. And then we just put the two side ones in here and attach them, one, and the same on the other side here, two. I could turn the leg around, probably best on the top camera. As you can see, that's the foot attached. And that's all there is to do with the Terminator at the moment. So I'm going to put that on the floor. Now, these are all the parts that we get in issue 101. So I'm just going to bring them all down. And the first parts we need are these pistons here. So I've pretty much opened everything up here. And the first thing we need is the caps here, which are going to go onto the end of these piston rods. And they're basically pushed to fit, so we can just push them all in. Try not to bend it when you push it in, but it is going to be quite a hard push. Now, if you do have trouble, push it straight down onto a mat. So I'm going to hold that there, and let's push that in like that. Probably easier to do that for all of them. Regardless of whether they're big or small, they both use the same caps. So that's two. This one's going to be number 3. Just like that. And then we've got number 4 here that goes in like that. Now we're going to be putting these pistons into these side frames in this way round. We're going to put a little bit of glue in here, and we're going to have the larger ones going in here and the smaller ones going towards the edge over this side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the larger pistons, I'm going to put a little bit of glue just around the edge there, just like that. You see, I'm using more glue than normal on this because this I don't want to move around at all. And then just push that in. I'm just holding that in place for a second. And when that's in, it should hold itself. We do the same with one of the smaller ones here. Just around the rim here. And again, push that home. Just to make sure it comes out the other side. So it is flush. I'll show you what that looks like. So it's coming out the other side just like that. Do the same on the other section here. So once again, we're going to have the larger one just going into this side here, making sure that goes all the way through. And then we've got the smaller one just going near the end. A little bit of glue around there. That's not going to be moving, that's for sure. And again, make sure that goes all the way through, which it has. And there we go. That's those two in place, and that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 102, as you can see here, we're going to be working on the front test plate. We've got some muscle tendons here. We're going to be connecting these all up and then connecting this to the head. So quite a lot to do in this stage. So this is the front chest plate looking like that. We're going to be taking over this section here, which is going to be going onto the chest plate like that. Now this is the left side, this is the right side, and you can tell which side you're working on because you do have a stamp on there. So this one says L for left. Now this is going to be going, I'm just going to do a quick dry fit to show you how that's going to fit on, like, oops, almost there, like that. So once we know how this is going to fit, we're going to need to put some glue just around the edges of these channels to keep this in place. So once again, I am going to apply this with directly from my glue because I want to put more glue than I normally would on these sections because we really don't want these coming out. So that's that one on. I'll put this into place. So it's best to just offer it from underneath and then push it up, following the contour of this part. I'm just holding that into place. There is a little channel for it to go in down the bottom. Once I've put this in, I'll show you what that looks like. As you can see, you do have a little channel there to make sure that's fully engaged in. But once that's in, that should look like that. We're going to do the same on the other side. So I'll just put the other side one in as well. Line up that bottom section like that. And then push the top section into place as well. And there we go. That's both of those parts in place. So once we've done that, we're going to be taking these spring tendons. Now, as you can see, we've got a thin one and we've got a thick one. And they're going to be going into the holes that you can see on the side. Not too hard to see what's going where because one of the holes is thin, one of the holes is thick. So I'll thread the thin one through first. And we're going to sort of balance it out so it's halfway between each section, and do the same with the thicker tendon here. So it's gone through that side okay, out the other side, and just push that through. And again, try and get it balanced so it's half and half. Now if you look at the picture, you want them to sit in the channel in the center there, just like that. But we are going to be pinning that into place now, so I'm just gonna, that's why it's so important to make sure that you've got it halfway for each one. So we've got a screw here, and that's a 2x6mm screw, and we have a metal washer. So we put the metal washer over these springs and then screw them down. Now once we do this, as you can see, it will pinch the springs into place so they will no longer be able to move. You don't have to go too tight, just tight enough so it doesn't move in there on its own. Now we can put this to one side because I need to bring the Terminator up because we're going to be attaching these small details to the head. So I'll get these cut off the sprue first and then I will bring the Terminator up. He is actually behaving himself at the moment, which is impressive. But I'm just going to turn his head to the side and you can see we've got a hole just in the side here. Now this part here is actually just going to go into the hole just like that and hang down like you see there. Now the bend of this is going to be pointing towards the back, so it's actually basically this way round it's going to go. So make sure you put the right piece in. That piece is going to go just like that. But I'll apply some glue and get that into place. As I said, it should follow the contour of this indent here. So that's in. You want it down at 90-degree angle, just like that. I'll turn the head around like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So this one just goes in here like that. There you go. I could put his head forward again because that is all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 103, as you can see here, we're going to be affixing the chest assembly and attaching the spring tube details. So we have got some more tiny details to put in here to keep that chest plate complete, and then the fun bit, we're going to actually be attaching this to the Terminator and then connecting the springs to the side of the head with the parts that we've just made. When it's finished, God, it's going to be looking good. It looks just like that. So we're going to bring over the chest plate detail that we worked on last time, And we've also got this chest detail which comes in this pack. Now this is actually just going to fit into this recess we see at the back. So if you watch me put this in, it's basically going to be going in at an angle and then fitting on top of the little sort of bridge that we've got in there. Just lining this up, so it's going to fit just like that on that bridge. Now to keep that in place, we've got a fixing strip looking like that. That's just going to go over the top of this section, and that's in place. And then we're going to screw that down with 2 times 6mm PB screws. Now they're the silver screws, but they're the smaller silver screws. The larger ones are actually 8mm. So you want the smaller ones looking just like that. So I'll get these in. That's one on the other side. And then I'll tighten them completely up. There you go. Tighten this one up as well. And then what that enables is this chest plate section here should still, if I turn it around here, should still be able to move, no problems at all. So I'll just move that over to the side because I've got to bring the Terminator back up again now. There he is. And then we've got to put 2 rubber grommets just into the holes that we can see there. They look like that, and it's just a case of pushing them all the way in. Best way to do this is to revolve it round in your fingers. Alternatively, if that's not working for you, get yourself a blunt screwdriver. Just help to push that in. Now when you push them in, they need to be firmly in there. So in other words, that top should be all the way down like that. We'll do the same on the other one here. Revolving it around a little bit. Use my flathead screwdriver just to get that all the way in. Helps out. Can even feed it down. Do whatever technique you need to do to get that in. There we go. And now they're fitting flush in there like that. Now this is where things are going to get fun. We're going to be putting the chest plate on. Now the top pins of the chest plate here are what's going to be going into these grommets here. And then these curved sections of the frame are going to be fitting around these curved sections here. So let's get this in, making sure we're not pinching any wires. Lining everything up. There we go, it's looking good. It's going in fine. And then push that all the way down at the top. And there we go, that is in place. Now while that's in there, this is where things are going to get tricky, because we're going to need to turn it over onto its front, just like that. And we're going to want to fit some 2 times 6mm screws just into these lower edges to keep the bottom part in first. So I'll put this side in first. That's one. And then we've got one just on the complete opposite side here. And that's number 2. Make sure that's nice and tight. Now we've got the larger 8mm screws. They're going to the top ends of these sections here. So we've got one this side over here. I think you can see that on the top camera. And that might take some manipulation to get them all the way around there. But when they're in, that shouldn't move at all. This is the second side here. Make sure that's nice and tight. If you are having trouble getting them in, push really hard on this side just here. Don't know if you can see that on the top camera. That will help you get that in. Now we could turn the model back over. And we're now going to be attaching all these cables. So the thicker cable first off is going to be going into the top of this arm section just here. That's in. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Get this one out. And once again, that's going to go into this one here. Might help to move the arm around just so you can get a good angle on that. There we go. So that's those 2 springs in. And then the thinner ones are going to go into the points of the head that we put in at the end of the last stage. So one this side, turn the head round, and one just on the other side here. Like that. Now we've got 4 shafts in this bag here, which I'm going to get open. They're going to go down each one of these pistons, as you can see on the top here. but they're going to then be attached, the top one here to this top half of the shoulder here. I'm just seeing which the best way round it goes. It doesn't matter what way round it goes actually. So I'll put that in like that, but it is going to be held in with one of these hexagonal screws. Now they do provide an Allen key that we can screw this in with. So here's the first one. Get that all the way in. And there we go. That's the first one in. Take another tendon. I'm hoping you can see this. And again, you're going to feed this into the smaller one there. And that's just going to go onto the connection of the shoulder behind it. Just in there like that. Doing exactly the same technique. Once again, I've put a bit of oil on there. I'm just going to tighten that one up all the way. The oil will certainly help you get that in, but as you can see, it should articulate when you bend it like that. I'm going to do the same to the other side. And there you go. When they're in, they should look just like that. And with this stage here, which we're going to leave to the next part, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 104, which I've got here, we're actually going to start working on the back section here. So we're going to take the brace that we've just worked on. We didn't do anything with actually, just there. We're going to be putting some details on that and attaching this to the Terminator. Now, as long as you've screwed in that front plate good, the back plate should go in no problems at all. We're about to find out if that's the case. So quite a few pieces in this one, so let's get these all open. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these parts here, and these are going to be creating some curvatures around these two sections here. The easiest way to line these up is you see these two holes here, you've got the same on these sides like this. So if you match them up, it's going to pretty much help you to locate where these go. So you've got that one going in that side and this one here going in this side over here like that. Now these are going to be held in with 2 times 4mm screws. So I'll put the first one in here. That's one. I'll do the same on the other side here. And that's the second one in. We're then going to be taking these little sections here, and these are going to be going just into the top that you can see there, the 2 recesses in the top like that. They are going to be glued into place though, so I will drop some glue just into those recesses. Probably better on the top camera. And again, these are going to be holding quite a weight, so I am using quite a bit of glue in there to ensure that that stays into place. So 1 and 2, when they're in, make sure they're straight so they look like that. We can put that bit to one side because now we're just going to creating some more neck tendons here, and all we're going to be doing is taking this end with the cutout here and pushing this ball joint into it. So a little bit hard, but brute force will help you be your friend. So that goes in like that. We do the same on the other side here like that. Bringing over the section we've just been working on, we're going to be putting these into place. So it's quite easy to see how they're going to go. They've got sort of like this pattern on the bottom. They're going to match the corresponding hole over here. So these are going to go in just like that. Now you can push them in firmly. They're not going to need gluing in. They're going to hold themselves pretty well. Do the same on the other side here. Again, put them in there and just push them very firmly into that indent. And there we go. That's those 2 places in like that. Now once again, I can put that to one side because I'm going to need to bring the Terminator over again. And we're now going to be putting these wing sections on here and here. Now these are actually going to go into the section. I don't know if you can see this on one of the cameras, just into here, and they're going to slot in. If I put one in first, again, just as a dry fit to show you how it fits, just like that. Now they do want, it holds pretty sturdy on its own, but they do want a little bit of super glue just on this edge here, which I'm happy to oblige, which I've just done. So again, get this bit set up and then push that in. And then we do exactly the same with the other side. And that's gone in perfect on the other side there. Now, gets fun. We're going to piece all of this together. So I'm going to turn this upside down. And we're going to be putting the back panel in. It's going to be going over these sections that you can just see on the side here. So I'm gently putting this into place. That's fit pretty well at the moment. I want to make sure that these wings here, or the shoulder blades, are up, because we want this to go underneath that section. There we go, and that has fit pretty good. Very good, actually. I'm very happy with that fit. Now these are going to be held in with 2 times 6mm screws. So we've got one just at the top here. And we've got 2 down the bottom as well. Now it might take a little bit of manipulating, but you should be able to get them in no problems at all. I'll just finish putting these 6mm screws in here. And then we just got the 2 at the top. And 2. That's sturdy in place, and we've got no gaps at the side. That's looking really good. But when you've got that in place, you're happy with that fit, you should be able to pick it up no problems. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 105, we're going to keep him on his front because we're going to be fitting the back panel over the screws we just put in. And once again, we've got these actuators here, which we're going to be putting in place with some hexagonal screws. So when we're finished, just looking at the last section here, it should look just like this. So I'll bring the Terminator, who's getting really heavy now, back over. And we have got this plate to put in where we put all of those screws in. This is just a push to fit. So match up the plate and just push that in like that. That's pretty much that back panel completed there. These screw holes here are where we're going to mount it onto the stand. So this is going to hold the weight of the Terminator there. So now we've got different kinds of cylinder here. As you can see, we've got ones which have got thick heads at the top, and then you've got ones with thin heads at the top. It's the thick head ones that we want. And they're going to go onto these sections just here that we glued into place. So one's going to go over the top there, and I'm going to affix one of the hexagonal screws just into this side here. Just put it in gently to hang it down, and we'll be doing the same on the other side here. So what I'll do is I'll get all of those screws tightened up. Now when you are tightening these up, remember that these were glued in, so it doesn't need to be too tight. If you do make it too tight, you're at a risk of breaking the glue bond that you put in there, which you don't want to do. What we're going to do then is we're going to put one of the actuators, I don't know what they're called, but they sounds like the right word. That's just going to go into the shoulder joint here, just in the back of the shoulder joint. Shoulder joint. Oh my god, I'm having problems speaking English today. Okay, so this is going to go in with an Allen key again. A hex screw. There we go. Do exactly the same on the other side. There we go. That's those in. We're then going to want to turn the Terminator over, and we've got the last ones to put in place. They're just going to go onto this section here. So I'll attach this one, as you can see there, with a hex key. Why can I not get my words right today? Hex screw. And then we'll put the actuator through there, and it's going to go onto the top of this shoulder section just here. And then we'll do exactly the same to the other side. And when they're both in, they should look just like that. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in issue 106, almost finished the Terminator. All we're going to do is put the circuit board into the back of the head. So this is what the circuit board looks like. As you can see, you've got a little aerial unit just there, which shows this is going to be remote control. And you do have a test switch or a power switch here. Not quite sure what that is. I do know that when you press it as a test, the lights will come on. Bring over the Terminator again, and we're going to turn it upside down, or turn it over, because I need the back of the head here. And I'm making sure that all the wires, we've got 2 wires coming out of one side, 2 wires coming out the other side. We're going to mount the circuit board just to this back plate here. Now we want to mount it this way with the plug section facing up. So it's going to go on like that. And that's just going to be held in with 2 of the tiny screws that come in this. I don't actually think they tell me the size of these screws, but I have got them. So lining that up perfectly. You can see I've just magnetised my screwdriver as well. So that's the first one. And this one here is the second one, and make sure that's nice and tight on there. And that is all there is to do in that stage. And then rather than show you the magazine, while I've got the Terminator here, I think it's probably best to actually just keep working with it. We're going to need the battery pack. This one here, now when did we get this? This must have been all the way from issue 3 we got this. This is going to go just into the cavity that you can see of the head section here. We want to put it in so that the wire is towards the left here. Now I'm going to turn mine on, which it's on, and then we're going to plug the top section into the control board up the top here. Make sure that's all the way in, just like that. Then hide the wires into the cavity section like that. Now on this side we're going to start plugging in all the other wires. So we've got the ribbon wire here. That's going to be plugged in to the larger section. And again, you want to make sure that goes all the way in. Like that. Then we've got the tiny red and black wire. Make sure that goes all the way in. And do exactly the same at the other side. So we've got at the top the black and red wire, and that's in. And then finally we've got the black, red and white wire just going on the next one down. Make sure that goes all the way in, which it is. That's all the wires in. I'm going to tuck them in, and I'm going to turn his head so you can see it probably on the close-up camera, and push this button. Hopefully his lights will come on. There you go. That's his eyes lit up. Oh, a sigh of relief that works. Then to turn it off, just keep your finger on the power button and that will flash and then turn off. So that all works, which means the last thing we've got to do is just put the back plate on. But what we're going to be doing before we put the top section on, looks just like this. We are just going to be putting a little bit of glue into the holes in the back here, because we're going to be putting magnets in these holes. So a little bit in there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Doesn't matter which way round we put these. So put the thicker magnets in the top. That's 1 and 2. Make sure that they are fitting flush in there, like that. And then we've got 2 smaller magnets, which are going everywhere at the moment, to fit into the bottom ones. So we got 1 and 2. Now before we put that on, the only other thing we're going to do is we're going to put these little accentuators in. Now they're going to go into these ribbed, let me move this over, these ribbed sections that we had here. So they're going to push them down here. As a matter of fact, they're actually going to go through the hole here. So quite difficult actually. We're going to push them through there, up through the hole on this side, and put it up as far as you can get. Now this can be a little bit tricky. Do the same on the other side. So it's the larger end here with the closed end, which is going in that section, all the way down through the hole at the bottom of the base of the skull, and then all the way up. Because we're going to be taking some grommets here, which I'm just going to cut out of the bag, and a flange screw, and we're going to be screwing those in. But there's a big danger of that flange screw falling out into the head. So my advice to you is to help you out to drop a tiniest bit of glue just on the edge of the back of the screw head. I don't know if you can see this. Tiniest bit. Just to keep that grommet into place long enough for when we screw that actuator in. So I'm going to load my screwdriver up now. And as you can see, the grommet is on the screwdriver. Pick the head up a bit so I can see the end of that, and then put this in. Hold it with your hands at the bottom just to give you something to push against. So when they're both in, they should look like that. I have just taken this ribbon cable out to put that in because I should have done that section before. I completely forgot. But then we can put the back of the head on looking like this, just into the cavities there, and it should fit nice and flush on there. As you can see, just like that, that side, and probably on the side camera, that, the other side. And that is the Terminator complete. And I'll show you here what it looks like on the temporary stand that I've got it on. But it does look really impressive. From this moment forward, we're going to be working on the stand. So as I said, we are going to start on the base now, and the first thing we're going to have is just this little spotlight here, which we're going to be putting into the cradle here. Now it just goes so the bulb's facing down. This wire here needs to be up, but so it doesn't pinch that hole there. We're then going to be taking the back of that cradle and threading the wire through the lower half of the hole that we can see here. So that's just going to go through like that, all the way down that wire, and then we're going to clamp all of this together. Just like, oops, get you in there. And then we're going to be putting that in just with these silver 2x4mm screws. So 4 of them, one here, number 2, number 3, and finally just the 4th one there. Then we're going to be taking this lens, which looks like that. We're just going to be pushing that into the recess there, and it's just a push to fit. So once that's in, that's pushed in, it's not going to come out again. Then we're just going to be putting the bracket that's actually going to keep this attached. So we're going to thread the wire all the way through that, all the way through. Now it's going to get a little bit tricky, because when we actually screw this to this, we want to make sure we're not pinching the wire. So be very careful of that when we actually attach this on here. So that looks good. Now we have got a little indent in there where we're going to place a nut. That's going to go in just like that there, as you can see. Hold it with my finger, turn it over, and then we're just going to put one of the long black screws through the other side here. Screw that in so it reaches the nut. Now if you can't get it to bite the nut, it means the wire's in the way, so be careful of that. But that's in, not too tight, because you are going to want to be able to move that like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Now rather than show you the magazine for the last bits of stages, we are working on the base. So it's all going to be pretty familiar, because we are going to be adding details to what you see here. Now this base at the moment, when the base is actually assembled, is going to be 42 by 42 centimeters. So I'm guessing this one must be near on 12 centimeters. But as you can see, we've got 2 rocks to put in place here. And it's pretty easy to see where they're going, because they have got these shapes in here. So this one's going to go kind of like that, and this one's going to go on top like that. It's going to need gluing in. The first thing we need to do though is just put the spotlight in here. Now that's going to be facing towards the middle of this section. So we put it through the hole here, put it out the other side, and then this is just quite simply a push to fit, making sure that we put the indents there matching the indents on that side. So once I've got it in, push it in, you heard it click, and there we go. So that's able to rotate a little bit around there, and it can go up and down as well as you wish. Which means the only other thing we need to do is just drop some glue into these sections. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the glue around the side, then the base, because that's what's going to take. And if I've learnt my lesson from doing this once before, it's use a lot of glue. Use an absolute ton of glue to keep these in place. Now I know some people out in the modding community are painting their bases. I won't be doing that to mine. I do like the charred look, like the Fallout look. But you know, it's your model. You do what you want. You do you. So I'm just going to hold that in place for a second till I'm happy. And there we go. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now in the next stage, we've got this ginormous skull, but we don't actually use that in this stage. We can just put that to one side, because what we are going to do is something we're very much used to, is creating another spotlight. Now we've only just finished doing that, so can we do this without referring to the instructions? We will see. So once again, we're going to get the base, put the spotlight so that the light is facing the other way in there, and mount that in so it's fitting nice and flat. There is actually I don't think there's a way that it needs to go. As you see, it fits quite flat, perfectly round. Then we're going to be putting the wire here through the rear section of this base plate, like that. Put it all the way down. Make sure this is lined up to go on like that, and then we secure that in with the small silver screws. 4 of them again. God, we've only done this about a minute ago. I got a deja vu feeling. Then we're going to be pushing the lens just into the top there, making sure it sits flat before you push it in. Then push it home so it sits flat. Get the wire, put that through the attachment that's going to actually mount this. Line it up where it's going to go. Put a nut in one side, then holding it with my finger, turn it over and put one of the long black screws in the other side there. So you tighten that up. You can see it's come out the other side there. I am able to turn it, no problems at all. So that's the spotlight done. We're going to be bringing over this base here, and then next to the spotlight that we put in, you see we've got this indent here. That's going to be for this detail. Now that detail, as you can see, has got a shape on it, so it is going to fit in, just a dry fit for you, just like that. So once again, I'm going to just put some glue just into the areas that this is actually going to touch. So it's just down here and a little bit on these sides here. I'm not going to worry too much about any other surface. Push that in. Make sure that's in nice and tight. And there we go. That, looking like that, is all there is to do in that stage. Which means the last stage we're going to do, we've got all of these parts as you can see here, but I'm going to put them all to one side, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to be joining this section with the section that we just made here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be lining up, if I get these together on the close-up camera there, like this. So we have got a tab section just there that we're going to be putting a metal bracket over the top of. So that's going to fit in like that to hold those two together. And then we've got some black flange screws which look just like that to keep that into place. So I'll get one in first on this side. Make sure it's nice and tight. There we go. And then I'll just put the other 3 in, and then that will bond these two parts together. There you go. So when I turn it back over, as you can see, we've now got 2 complete parts in place. We're going to be taking some of these details now of the pipes and putting these in place. Now it's pretty easy to see where they go, because once again they've got a shape. So this one is going to go in there like that, which means I'm going to put some glue in here. Once again, I'm just putting glue around the edges to keep that in, rather than the base, because it's the edges which are actually holding that. So that's the first pipe in there. Then we've got the second pipe, which is a lot smaller, going next to it into this hole you might be able to see just on the top camera there. So it looks like this pipe here is going through this whole section. We're then going to take this ginormous skull, and I think it's pretty easy to see where that's going. That's just going to go onto this section here. This is the plate of it, so it's going to be fitting on kind of like that. That for a second. It does stick quite quickly. Then we're going to be putting the spotlight in that we made last time. So that's again just going to go through the hole that we can see there. Probably best on the top or side camera. Once again, we want to clip this into place. So I'll pinch the sides, push it in. You see it lock. So again, that's able to turn. And then the last thing we've got is this spring here. That's just going to go into this indent down the bottom. Now what I tend to do for that, again, just drop a little bit of glue in there. And then with the screw, pick one end and just pretend you are actually screwing it in, so it gets covered in that glue. And what will happen is the spring will compress down the bottom and hold itself in, and then the glue will do the rest of the job there. So it means the spring will stick up and it will look like that. But as you can see on that camera, that is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. To give you an idea of how big the base is against me, there you go. It's quite massive, isn't it? But that's up to issue 110. You know what that means? It means we've got one more pack to go. So we've got, it finishes at 120, and that will be the Terminator complete. But we have actually completed the Terminator. Now we're just working on the base. Really enjoyable. If you want to get this for yourself, once again, put the link down here for the Agora Models website. You'll be able to get this all the way from pack 1. You'll be able to join me and build this wonderful Terminator here. But I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.